Every year, the nation comes together to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a minister and passionate activist whose philosophy of nonviolent protest set the course for America's civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. From a young age, Dr. King became increasingly aware of the deep-seated racism and discrimination people of color faced in this country. But he was taught by his parents to rise above the hatred and do what he could to effect positive change. He followed the example set by his father, who was also a minister, by participating in and leading nonviolent protests against racial segregation and voting rights discrimination. Dr. King finished high school at age 15 and graduated from Morehouse College at age 19. While at Morehouse, he worked at a farm in Connecticut to help pay his tuition. This was his first time traveling outside the South, and he was struck by the difference in lifestyle for Black people outside the confines of segregation. He later attended seminary in Pennsylvania and then earned a PhD in theology from Boston University in 1955. While studying in Boston, he met Coretta Scott, and the two were married in 1953. Dr. King and his wife moved to Montgomery, Alabama, where he became the pastor for Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. In Montgomery, Dr. King became increasingly involved in civil rights activism. Inspired by the nonviolent methods of Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. King advocated for social change through peaceful protest and civil disobedience. When Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a bus, Dr. King and others organized the Montgomery bus boycott. During the 385-day campaign, Dr. King's house was bombed, and he was arrested and jailed. Ultimately, the boycott was a success. As a result, the Browder v. Gale case in the U.S. District Court issued a ruling prohibiting racial segregation on Montgomery public buses. Dr. King's role gained national attention in the civil rights movement. In 1957, Dr. King and other prominent civil rights activists founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Their mission was to organize Black churches in nonviolent protests for racial reform. Though only in his 20s and initially hesitant to take a visible role, Dr. King became a prominent spokesperson and leader in the civil rights movement into the 1960s. He spoke publicly to campaign for desegregation and against discrimination in voting rights and labor policy. Dr. King also assisted Native American tribes facing similar discrimination. He helped organize and lead numerous protest marches and sit-ins and was subsequently arrested and jailed 29 times. While incarcerated in 1963, Dr. King wrote the now famous Letter from a Birmingham Jail, stating, "We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed." Later that same year, Dr. King helped organize the March on Washington, where an estimated 250,000 participants filled the National Mall and heard his historic I Have a Dream speech.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
The March on Washington and Dr. King's speech helped to maintain the political momentum that led to the passing of the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964. The act outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. Though it was a historic step, there was still more work to be done. In 1965, the peaceful Selma to Montgomery Voting Rights March was met with extreme police brutality. The event's national television coverage brought a wave of public outrage to the injustice. Consequently, Dr. King met with officials in President Lyndon Johnson's administration to request protection for the participants of the march. He then led 2 successive and successful protests. Dr. King was also a vocal opponent to the war in Vietnam and criticized the government for allocating more money and resources to the military conflict and less on anti-poverty programs. This position cost him significant support among white allies. It also led some to associate his stance on social and economic justice with communism. In late March 1968, Dr. King went to Memphis, Tennessee to support black sanitary public works employees who had been on strike for higher wages and better treatment. A few days later, on April 4th, he was fatally shot while standing on a motel balcony. Days after his assassination, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1968, which prohibited discrimination in housing and related transactions. Beginning in 1971, cities around the country established local holidays to honor the legacy of Dr. King. But it wasn't until 1983 when President Ronald Reagan signed a bill creating the federal holiday Martin Luther King Jr. Day that would be observed annually by the nation on the 3rd Monday in January. Through his tireless and selfless devotion to racial equality and social justice, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. left a lasting legacy in the United States and throughout the world. The City of Glendale upholds the community values that Dr. King fought for and honors his legacy annually. The following are highlights from past events.
If we truly want to create a welcoming environment that is inclusive of all members of its community, we can look to Dr. King's vision of beloved community. The beloved community is when all perspectives are brought together in a collective effort to achieve goals, in which we are able to see and love the humanity in one another without exception. Throughout his life, Dr. King allowed us to envision this type of world we can live in only if we made decisions through the lens of compassion, putting ourselves in another's shoe, another's experience, and moving forward mindfully and with kindness. All too often, in the face of overwhelming injustice, we allow our anger, rage, and pain to guide us. The transformational shift that Dr. King challenged us to make was to see our shared humanity, work toward beloved community, and direct our fight against oppressive policies and unjust acts, not persons.
King saw racism as a mental illness, and just as you wouldn't put down or hate the person with cancer in the body, neither should you hate or put down the person with cancer in the mind. He saw nonviolent protest as a means of healing this cancer of the mind, because nonviolent protest causes the racist to see himself or herself. Nonviolent protest literally holds a mirror up to America's face so that she can see herself. You will never reach the heights that your soul is intended to soar until you take what comes to you naturally and put it in service to someone else's hurt. A life well lived is a life lived in service to others. And so Dr. King took his gift for elocution and gave it in service to a people who were reaching for what they wanted, but didn't know how to language it. Every hurt needs a voice. So one of Dr. King's models, Mahatma Gandhi, said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in service to others. And Dr. King did that.